The way you have no idea what I have in store for you, the month of February was truly just beyond my expectations. So many wild things have happened. I can't wait to tell you all about it. I got my drink of choice, which is H2O. I'm giving you exactly 5 seconds to go grab your beverage of choice. And then together, we're going to dive in to the second month of my new year. And I promise you, it's truly wild. I've done so many things. Here we go. I am getting old, whether I like it or not. So to rely on my memory will be a rookie mistake. So here I have my handy dandy Muji journal, which I've talked about, which I've went on and on about, and I promise this is not sponsored. I wish it was sponsored. I mean, it was only like what, 1900 won? So like about like $1.50. So it's affordable. I'm an independent woman. I can fund my own stationery hobby. So what was I talking about? Hold on, backtrack. Picking up where we left off last time, I told you about my DPR regime experience, told you about my obsession with the Burger King's new Chicken King sandwich. Well, that is all past us now. We are moving on to mid-February, and this is where we've left off last time. So since then, I've prepared and busied myself with 2 weeks of continuous initial training for my job. So I believe maybe I've mentioned it before. If not, I guess I'll mention it now so that it makes sense later. But basically, I am a trainer for one of the curriculums that my company offers. So I became a trainer I became a trainer last winter. And since then, I've observed 1 week of training and then taught 1 week of training myself. So at this point, I've only had like 2 trainings under my belt. And at the time, in mid-February, I was still doing like intensive classes for my regular job. So ever since I came back from the States, I've done 4 weeks of round 1 intensives and then immediately 3 weeks of round 2 intensives, which there was like an overlap in between. Then immediately, I could not even like have a breather. Immediately, I was slammed with 2 weeks of just training. So it's been a while since I first like learned how to train. So the weekend before my first week of training since 2022, I went on like a cafe spree. Well, usually I finally learned to be honest with myself and that I can't be productive at home, especially with like editing or preparing something that's so serious that requires 100% of my attention. I learned that I have to go to a cafe or just outside to be productive. So I invited Taro. I was like, hey, I want to be productive this weekend. Do you want to be productive with me? And at that time, it was like, what? February 12th. And I was like, do you have any suggestions? And then Taro was doing what he does best. He found this cafe in like almost like a middle of the woods, but giving you a little bit of context, that cafe was like a forest cafe, but it was like adjacent to this neighborhood. I think in a city that's south of where I'm currently living. So we drove there. And then when we got there really early when they first opened. It was like at 9 or 10. Nobody was there. And you just have this pristine, just beautiful view of one side. It's just like floor to ceiling windows facing the forest. And then on the other side, you see this like small playground areas that I guess the neighborhood kids can play soccer in, and then outdoor tables that people can just chit chat. I love that cafe so much. But unfortunately, I had to divide my attention to like prepping for my training week. It was so intense. Like I tried so much to force myself to focus. I had a massive migraine. I think it was partly also due to just the sense of nervousness because I haven't done it in so long. I just have this fear of, what if I fail my trainees? Because my job is to prepare them for their first week, right? And then eventually they, pick up everything along the ways. So I'm like, I don't want to be that one trainer where they feel like, oh, it was a waste of my time. I didn't really learn anything important. I didn't want that, so I guess I put a lot of pressure on myself. But that day, basically, that was all I did. And then I went home and I was like, you know what? I need to sleep because I have to wake up early for training. So the training schedule is as follows. So on Monday, I would have to wake up from, Monday was 10 to 12:30, which was mildly okay. And then from Tuesday to Thursday, it's from 8:30 in the morning all the way to 12:30. And then on Friday, which is their final evaluation day, it goes from 9 to 12. But because the training group I had was so big, we had to extend the workshop time. So instead of ending at 12:30, every day it kind of ended at like 1. But, for me, at first, even though I was very pressed about this training session, because to be honest, I didn't want to do it. I wanted a break right after intensive classes. Come on. But I was really not in a position to back out. So I did it. And I was just so incredibly blessed to have just a fantastic group of people. They were really, respectful. No one was really causing any trouble. There were no big issues. And luckily, both groups passed. And I guess they seemed to have liked my training sessions. So I guess that was a win for me. But that was like a big part of my February. It was just training in the morning, training in the morning, going to work in the afternoon and evening, arriving home at 11:30, eat, prep for my classes, prep for my training, wake up at 6:30, get ready for training, do the training, go to class, come back at night, eat, prep. Like that was it for 2 weeks. And then I kept telling myself, if you can do it the first time around, then you can do it the second time around. And then when I finished the second round, I was like, if you can do it twice, you can do it a third time. That was what was really driving me through my training week. And then another beautiful thing that happened to me was Audible. This is not sponsored, I promise. So I signed up for Audible, not as a consumer. I signed up I wanted to try out to be like a voice over person. And in order to do that, you had to make an Audible account or something like that. And it was linked to Amazon. So in the beginning of February, I received this promotional email saying, hey, you got 3 months of, Audible premium on us. Every month you receive a credit and you can, browse our category and see if you like anything, just go ahead and pick it up. And at the time, I was trying for auditions on different books, but I've done maybe 2 or 3, so really not a lot at all. However, they've all been rejected. So I was like, maybe I should listen to audiobook and see, how other people narrate. So I signed up for Audible, and then the next big question came okay, what is going to be my first book? So of course, I go to the top selling chart, and there was Prince Harry's book, right, Spare, and then Matthew McConaughey, the Green Light, and then Little Life, and of course, Atomic Habit. So I clicked on all of those, but when I listened to the narrator, I'm like, come on, guys. I just really didn't like the voice. So then I did what I do best. I go on YouTube to ask for help. So I went on YouTube and then I looked up, what are some good first audiobook, because this is my first experience with audiobook. I've never consumed audiobook in the past. So eventually, after many, many videos, I came across this person who recommended a very lighthearted read. So it's called The Confessions of a 40-something F-Up. So I also share that mentality, minus the fact that I was not yet 40, but I do feel like that I'm some kind of an F up. So I thought, let's see if it's available on Audible. And if it is, I have a free credit anyways. So I found the title, luckily. And then I don't remember if there were two narrators, but I just clicked on the first one, right? And it seems like it had a really high rating. I went to the review, and then people were saying that, it was very lighthearted. They didn't expect how the story unfolded, and the narrator was great. So I listened to the sample. I think maybe it was about like 5 minutes. And immediately I was like, this is something I could listen to. So like, when was it? February 7th, I downloaded that book. And then while I was prepping for my class, while I was cleaning, cooking lunch, while I was in the subway, just overall, whenever I had free time, I kept listening to that book. That book had 11 hours. And I finished it on Friday. So I started on Tuesday and I finished it on Friday. And that really blew my mind. So I know some people read very fast and they just consume book like it's freaking tortilla chips. But it was a win for me. First of all, I never thought I would like audiobook. And secondly, it's like ever since I started listening to that book, there was this desire to read more. So I downloaded a new ebook, which is what I'm currently reading right now. It's called Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Amazing. I loved that book so much. I'm still reading it on my Kindle. And as for physical copies, I'm reading Norwegian Wood, but it's in Chinese. And then there's another book that I was reading called, what was it? It was A Man's Journey, but again, it was a Chinese book talking about senses and how that correlates to our sense of home. So he was talking about when we talk about taste of home, and it's a real thing, why do we miss that taste of home is because of, he talks about different concepts of what marks a person's, hometown. And his argument is that we don't have a hometown. We just carry everything with ourselves, with our souls. And then the things that we lose along the ways are the things that we missed. I'm trying to translate from Chinese to English, which I can't even do that from English to English because my brain cells can't handle that. So excuse me, bear with me. But I have been reading maybe 3 books. I'm just alternating one chapter. So I would finish one chapter here and then read another book. And now, I was also reading a poetry book. But again, it's translated and I don't know the person's English name. But it was not an English poet. Anyways, all you need to know from what came out of Confession of a 40-something F-up is that it rekindled this love for reading again. And I was ever so grateful because one, that book itself had a great story. It's talking about this lady, who returned to the UK after calling off her wedding with her American fiance after failing her business. And then she's just stuck in this limbo space, trying to figure out what is my life going to look like now that I'm stuck in this state. I'm not married. I don't have a family. I don't have kids. I don't even have a proper job. So what's going on in my life? What can I do? Then through a very odd chance, she got an offer to write an obituary for someone who passed away. And then that struck up a very interesting relationship with an 80-year-old widow. And then, as they are building their friendship, her life is changing. And it's just a documentation of what happened to her in the year. So everything is done in kind of a diary / podcast. And you just hear her talking about all these things that not just 40-something-year-olds go through, but it could be relatable to anyone in any stages of their life. And it's, being talked about in a very lighthearted way, but it also carries its weight in your heart. And then you are pulled with the story, but please listen to it. If not, read it. It's a really great read, and I highly doubt that it will be a waste of your time. It was the best thing that happened to me in February, like since 2023 happened. And that's a lot. I mean, just read more. You eat food. Let's give your brain some food as well. Food for thought. So the audiobook, and then that forest. The cafe in the forest, and my training week. And oh, yes, of course. You know what people do best when in times of distress is they like to pursue therapy. But not all are done in like a certified way, because mine was retail therapy. So during the second training week, I was kind of losing it. I was so tired, a little bit delirious, and I was kind of breaking down. And I thought to myself, I am going to buy myself a mechanical keyboard. So I never really owned a mechanical keyboard before. I've only borrowed Taro's, and I liked how it felt when I'm typing. And it made me want to use my computer more. So I thought, every single week, every single day, I have to write these like performance report on all the people I've trained. Why don't I make my, why don't I make my training week more enjoyable? Because luckily, thankfully, I'm getting paid for it as well. So I thought $100 something keyboard wouldn't hurt. Plus, I would use it all the time because I'm editing and writing reports. So I found this one that I kind of sort of liked. I went on YouTube trying to see if there were many reviews, but I think it might be like a regional specific product, so that there weren't really a lot of reviews in English. But instead, I got a lot of ASMR product reviews. So I was like, you know what? Sounds kind of okay. And I figured out which kind of switch that I wanted. So it only offered the red one. So I'm assuming that's cherry. The red one, the blue one, or the brown one. So the tactile one. And I like the tactile switches. So that was the one I went with. And I think I made an okay choice because I still like the typing experience. I like the way they sound, and the price wasn't too ridiculous, because I know how mechanical keyboards can, start to cost a lot depending on what you're looking for. And yes, I do like the way some keyboards sound like, but then you need to like lube them, and you need to use like hot swap switches. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I just want a keyboard. That's all I want. I'm not trying to be specific about what kind of keyboard it is, what kind of switch it is, what kind of sound it is. As long as I like to use it, it's fine with me. So I pursued a retail therapy, and I got myself my very first mechanical keyboard. And that was the third best thing that happened to me this month. And then came the last day of my training, which, mark your calendar, it was on February 24th. Yeah. So, which is like 2 days ago. I was so happy. It felt like this weight left my body. It felt like half of my soul just took a PTO and went to outer space. That day, I remember clocking into work, having all my reports already typed on Google Doc. All I had to do was sign into the portal and just paste everything, grade them, and then I could finally sign up and said, I am done with training week for this term. So the winter term came to a close this Friday. And then starting next Monday, I would do my spring term. So that happened. It was a great relief. And something heartwarming happened too. It was like, on Tuesday of last week, my friend made me a bento. So because of my commute and because of just like the tight window between when my training ends and when I need to be at the branch, I didn't really have time to cook. So I've been getting like these egg mayo sandwiches from the convenience store, plus like one roll of kimbap. So that's what I ate 5 days of a week. during training week. And my friend was like, do you like pasta? I was like, yeah, I like pasta. She's like, okay, I wanted to surprise you, but you seem like you're spiraling right now. So let me just go ahead and tell you, I made you lunch. And I was like, you made me this sandwich? So she made me like this red sauce pasta, like chicken pasta. And it was delicious. Okay, I was very grateful, almost cried. But that was also something that happened to me that was very heartwarming. I was like, I didn't expect this. You took the time to do this. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. So that happened on Tuesday. And then yesterday was... I can't begin to tell you what happened yesterday. So get this. You know, everyone has a bucket list for their life or for the year. And for me, one thing I really wanted to do was to go skiing. So I'm from somewhere that's really hot, and we don't see snow a lot. So when I came to Korea, I thought to myself, you know, finally I have access to snow. I really want to try skiing or snowboarding. And it was something that I wanted to do since last year, but because I missed a window last year, that never, like, an opportunity did not present itself. And then with this year, January, I was way too busy. There's no time. And then February, I was still busy. However, you know, there were pockets of opportunities that I could insert this wish in there. But I also wanted to go with Taro. So eventually we found a day that would work for both of us, which would be this Saturday, the 25th. So I told Taro about it, and he said, well, let's see when the ski resorts close, because that's the only place that you can go skiing. And it seems like, you know, the season is coming to an end by the end of February. So I thought, you know, a good way to motivate myself would be to go to the ski resort the day after I wrap up training. So we booked it, and it was only like 80 for 4 hours. And then, you know, additionally, you have to rent the gears on your own, but they weren't too expensive. So let me walk you through what happened yesterday. So on Friday, I came back from work. It was the last day of class, so I had to bring a lot of candies for my kids, pass out the candies. I received some heartwarming notes from them. And then I began packing for the ski day. We're only going to be there for a day, but I still wanted to be prepared rather than underprepared, especially it's going to be my first trip. I didn't want to mess up. So I looked up some videos on what to pack to go skiing, as well as, you know, some beginners videos on how to snowboard. So I decided that instead of skiing, I wanted to do snowboarding. I don't know, it just seemed more fun, and I've skated before, so I thought that it would be an easier transition. So I was looking up videos while I'm packing. And after I finished packing, I confirmed, like, you know, when are we going to meet up tomorrow? And Taro said, okay, how about I pick you up at 9:30? And then we'll make, like, the hour-ish drive to the ski resort. And then we'll do maybe, like, 4 hours of skiing. And then we can have dinner, and then we can come back. So I was like, cool. So I set up my timer. Geez, who am I? Chef Boyardee. I set up my alarm for 6:30, and then I went to bed. So I woke up before my alarm because I was excited. I also couldn't sleep, I think because I was excited. So I couldn't sleep until maybe like 3 a.m. in the morning. Don't ask me what I was doing. I was just tossing and turning, and then looking at the clock saying like, oh my gosh, another hour have passed. I really need to go sleep. I can't be not focused tomorrow because a lot is on the line. So I woke up at 6, and I changed. I cleaned my room a little bit. My room is still messy, and I need to clean after this podcast. I fed Uni. I scooped the poop. I threw some trash away, which I got yelled at downstairs, and I couldn't comprehend what I was getting yelled at for, so I just kind of tucked my tail between my legs and came back upstairs. And then 9:30 sharp, Taro comes by. I got us some like protein shakes, and then we gassed up, and then we drove to this ski resort place. So before we actually get to the place, we had to stop by like a ski shop to rent our gear because we had nothing. I mean, we had like paddings on, we have hoodies, we have pants, and then with I was also wearing like innerwear because I knew it was going to be cold. But that was not enough because, you know, we're amateurs. What do we know? So we stopped there. And then at this ski shop, they were renting snowboard skis as well as, you know, gears like paddings and then snowboarding pants that you have to wear. So we were looking at all the selections and we're like, I can't. It's so many things to choose from. Then one rack, it was just like full of overalls, just like a onesie. And I'm like, you know what? That seems easy. Let's go ahead and get that. So we rented 2 pairs of overalls and it came with butt pads and knee pads. Now, funny confession. I didn't know it was for my knees. So originally, I wore on my elbows. And then when we're in the car, Taro was asking me, "Oh, did you put on like your pads?" And I was like, yeah, I got my butt pad, and then I got my elbow pads. He was like, "Okay, cool." What? Elbow pads? I was like, "Yeah, you know the 2 separate ones that they gave us, they asked us to change into?" And he was like, "No, those were knee pads." I was like, "Oh, okay." So in the car, I try to like shimmy out of the onesie, and then I pull the quote unquote elbow pads and then replace it on my knees. So we got geared up, went in the resort. Then we walked to kind of like the ticket booth. So we already booked it online. All we had to do was to get the ski lift pass. So we went to the kiosk, we got our ski pass, then we walked a little bit more, and then we went to the basement floor to get our snow boots as well as the actual snowboards. So we went there, and I usually wear like 240 centimeters? Probably centimeters. Excuse me. Millimeters, not centimeters. Jesus. 240 centimeters? Jeez, what am I? An octopus? That's taller than my own height. Oh my god, I can't laugh because my shoulders hurt. Okay. I usually wear 240 millimeters, okay? However, the snow boots usually run short, small, short. I'm losing my brain cells. They usually run small. So after we got a number and then we got a call to the booth and then we got our boots and I tried it on and I told Tara, I was like, can I please get like a size up because it's a little bit too tight. So I was like, okay. So we went back to the counter and changed it to 250. And this time it was still tight, but a lot better than before. I just didn't want to inflict unnecessary injuries on myself. So we got there, we changed, and then we actually had to get cash. I didn't know, but we had to get like $1.50 in coins to use the lockers. Because obviously we didn't walk in there barefoot. So we had to put our shoes in one of the lockers, and then we got our board. Then we walked into like the actual slopes, and there were 1, 2, 3. Ooh, whoa! 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 slopes. The furthest to the left was like the advanced slope. It was hella steep and really scary, and not many people on it. Then the middle one, the second to the left, was the intermediate one. And then the third from the left was the beginner/intermediate one. It's still kind of steep, but with a lot more people, and they seem to be comfortable in what they're doing. Then there's the one farthest on the right, and that was the beginner one, like I guess the bunny slope, whatever you called it. So I was like, okay, first of all, we are beginners. Let's not try to run before we can crawl. So I told Taro, I was like, let's remember what we watched from the videos. Let's try from the far, because he wanted to do the third one, he wanted to do the intermediate and beginner one. I was like, we don't know jack poop. Like, we got to practice first before we can do that. And I told him, I was like, this is why women live longer than men. I'm like, my goal today is to not get seriously injured, because I've seen and heard so many news about people seriously hurting themselves, while they were skiing or snowboarding, because, it's just very easy with inertia, laws of physics, hello. So we took the lift up to that was my first ski lift experience. And I am afraid of heights. So is Taro. So when when the lift was going upwards, at like the midway, the midpoint, it kind of stopped a little. And then we were like, oh, whoa. I was like, don't look down, don't look down. And then I told him, have you heard of those stories where people get stuck on the ski lift, and then at night the wolves will come out and just like wait at their feet, because thinking that they're going to drop down and they can have a sweet meal. And he was like, can we not talk about this right now? So we got on the slope, and then first few times around, like, I remember what I learned, and I was just trying to be careful and taking it slow. And I have to thank my parents for this. Thank you for their genes. Luckily, it didn't take too many tries until we kind of sort of figure out the basic function, the basic controls of how to snowboard. So we had a 4-hour pass, and then like the first 2 hours were spent on the bunny slope. It's the beginner slope. We learned how to do the heel stop. Like, we're just trying to go down horizontally. Then we learn how to brake, right? Then eventually how to sort of turn. But during the process, most of the time, I fell harder forward than backwards. So first of all, I made the mistake of wearing butt pads where my butts actually were. But when you fall, you don't fall on your butt. You fall like, the area between your knee and where your butt is, that is where I hit the ground. And my butt pad was literally doing nothing. So after we finished skiing, like, all the adrenaline washed away, I was feeling pain. I was like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to wake up with like purple butt, because I've done nothing but just slam on my ass today. So that was that. But when I fall forward, I usually use my hand to stop myself to break the fall. But first of all, I didn't bring gloves. And luckily, Taro brought 2 pairs of gloves, so I was able to use one of them. But get this, they're not the ski gloves that you're thinking about. It's like the freaking fabric one. It's like a mitten, and basically it has no padding, so my palm was just directly slammed into the snow every single time. Now, at the moment, I was feeling the high. I was feeling the rush. Like, the adrenaline was going through my bloodstream, and I was just drowned in the pure joy of my dream come true. This was one thing I really, really wanted to do. So every time I would get slammed hard, I would literally eat crap. I would bounce up, but with like a smile with my face. So to other people, I probably look like a maniac, because I would just tumble and then immediately like, that was great, let's try again. But the repercussion of that was my right palm was purple. And I didn't notice it afterwards, right? So I kept falling, but eventually, we learned, we got the gist of everything. But we also got really hungry and really hot because we were sweating. We were trying to learn. There was a concession stand, kind of, a kiosk where you can order food next to the ski slopes. So we went there, we got like an iced tea, we got an iced latte, and also kind of like a hot dog thing, but it's not a hot dog. It's like, what do you use to make croissants? Puff pastries? Wrapped around like a really long hot dog sausage. So that's what we had. So we fueled up a little bit after 2 hours. Then Taro suggested, you know what? Like, why don't we push ourselves a little bit? Why don't we do the intermediate beginner one? And I was like, I don't know. Like it's a lot steeper than the bunny hop, obviously. And I was like, I don't know, but you're right. If we spend this much money, might as well, make the most of it. So we started trying to do that. And because the distance is a lot longer, we were able to ski longer as well. So it took about like 20 minutes to get through the lift because at this point, we went there early. But towards the end, it was like at like 2 to 3. And then people started showing up. So the lift took longer. And then skiing all the way down took 20 minutes in the beginning because, we were still stumbling. And then there were a lot more people this time. And then they were a lot more experienced. So you just see them zoom, zoom by you. And I don't want to crash into anyone. And I don't want to be in anyone's way. So I'm just being careful and try not to like fall too many times. Because at this point, there were a few falls where I legit tumbled. I think maybe like 2 times. But my shoulder and my right shoulder and right hip hit the ground. And then at the moment, I already felt like pain, like sort of like a stabbing pain. Like I couldn't really lift it, but I knew I didn't dislocate it. Maybe like I tore a muscle or something, but it wasn't something too serious. So I was already like aware of that. And then although I try my best not to run into someone, I think the last hour on my way down, I collided with another person who's probably a pro because he was literally talking on his phone. And then I accidentally ran into him, but not full impact. So I was already braking, but it's like, in the process of braking, it ran into him. But he also fell down too. Like he was in the process of falling down and then I ran into him. So immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? And he was still on the phone. He was like laughing. He was like, yeah, I'm good. And then Taro came down and he was like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He's okay too, luckily. But towards the end of our sessions, I was able to have more fun. I think for my last trip down, I was able to only fall/break twice only. So I was able to like finally navigate. I could, what's the word I'm looking for? I could turn. That sounds so basic. But I could turn without falling over. And I did like a little zigzag motion. And I was like, ooh, I'm feeling good about this. But, eventually all good things come to an end. And then our time was up. So we did our last round and then we filmed each other, took some pictures. Then it was time to leave. So that was when like all the adrenaline's washed away. And I'm like, that was probably the best day/weekend I've had since 2023. And then we were cleaning up and we were exhausted. Like our socks were soaked and they were stanky because from the boots. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to stuck my feet into my shoes because it was all nasty and stuff. But we didn't really have a choice. However, we did remember on our way here, because the ski resort is a little bit, far out. It's actually a place called Gongjiam. If you're familiar with that name, it's probably from that scary movie. So there was a scary movie about maybe 5-6 years ago. It's like the Gongjiam Asylum. And that's how I knew that name. So when Taro told me that he booked that place, I was like, isn't that like that movie that we watched? So fun story, when I was in college, that was when Gongjiam came out. And I had to stay overnight at the library to study for my exam. And there was a point where I was getting so sleepy, but I knew I couldn't sleep because I still had a lot more to study. So I decided to take it like a brain break. And I went online and I found like a stream for the Gongjiam Asylum. So I watched that movie in the hopes of like staying awake. But I ended up watching it twice. I don't remember why. It was so addicting. But I watched it twice and I remember feeling very scared because of it. Excuse me. Whew. So I was like, this is a flashback I didn't expect. So we went to the Uniqlo that we saw on the way. And then once we pulled up, we were like, this is like in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of creepy. Like, do they even get business here? And then Tara was like, oh, maybe this one gets like additional discounts. We're like, well, we got wet socks. Might as well go check it out. So we went inside, and I kind of semi-splurged, but I haven't really gotten clothes recently. So it was sort of justified. But I got these like olive Baker pants. I trust Uniqlo U-line with my entire heart. And I tried it on and I was like, I think I like how it looks on me, how it feels. And originally I was going to get a pair of jeans that I found. But I saw the Baker pants and I was like, this one screams character and I want something different into my wardrobe. So I decided to stick with that, as well as like a white half mock turtleneck and then some heat tech innerwear that was on sale because, winter is about to end. And then, at the checkout. So usually, like a lot of self-checkout, you just put the item there, beep, the tag, and then you select your method of payments, and then that would be it. At this Uniqlo, okay, I don't know, is it because I haven't shopped in a long time and the system have changed while I was away from the game? But they had this area, the kiosk, were attached to this like hollowed out space. So imagine the kiosk is on the left, and then on the right, there's just like this dip. And then basically it prompted us to put all the items that we were holding into that hollowed out space, and they will automatically register which item it was. So at first I was skeptical. I'm like, do they really know? So we were we were finicking with it. And then the shopkeeper basically came over and was like, oh, you just need to put all your stuff in there. So we did, and it automatically registered everything that I was carrying. Then we paid, and then on the left-hand side, there were this like knife kalguksu. So like, like a knife cut noodles. What do you call it? Yeah, basically like a noodle shop. And it looked really traditional. So Taro was like, well, I'm waiting for my jeans anyway. So he got a pair of jeans, but they needed to make some adjustment to it. So we were waiting for the tailor to finish doing whatever he was doing. So we were like, okay, let's just, have dinner here. So we went in there. The price was extremely affordable. And the noodles, oh my gosh. The chicken, macaroni with the chicken. The chicken was great. The noodle was great too. So we ate there, and then I don't know if it's because we were so spent from snowboarding all day, almost all day, because we left at 9:30 and then we left in the evening-ish. The food just felt extra good. Like we had one cold noodle and then one hot noodle. And 4 dumplings? 2 kimchi ones, 2 like regular meat and veggie one. It just hit the spot. And then we struggled to drive home. And once we got back, I passed out in 5 minutes. Apparently I was talking, and then I stopped talking. And then Taro thought I was keeping up with whatever he was saying. And when he looked at me, I was already gone. I was clocked out. I left the lobby. So I slept really well. Then I woke up this morning at 6:30. Because why? Well, my body probably thinks that, hey, Julie, you gotta get up at 6:30 to prep for your training week again. Little did my body know I was done with training. So I woke up at 6:30, and I remember at 7 o'clock, there was like this Twitter event at 7. It was for the hashtag Save Warrior and then 10 million tweet celebration space, whatever. So the showrunner and one of the actors, they were going to read the script together, one of the deleted scenes together. And I guess my body also remembered that. So I woke up early enough, naturally, to attend that event. But Wi-Fi was so bad, I decided to quit halfway. Then I thought about being productive. So today is Sunday, and tomorrow I start my new term. So brand new set of classes that I have to refresh my memories on. And I also need to prepare for those classes. And originally I intended to prep them at night because, procrastinating. But since I woke up early And since the training schedule just, I guess, shaped my mentality, I jokingly told myself, why not just do it now? I thought about it. I thought about it again. And I was like, okay, let's try with one class and see how it goes. So I went on the portal. I looked at my textbook and I was like, okay, this one doesn't seem so bad. Let me just prep some, supplementary material. Then I was done with that. I was like, while we're at it, let me just prep this whole lesson. So in the blink of an eye, I finished prepping that lesson. But then I teach 2 classes tomorrow. So I was like, my second class is a high-level class. That's going to require a lot more brain cells, brain juice, and just more of my attention. And I was dreading to do it. I didn't want to do it at all. So I was like, Taro's still not awake. So what else are you going to do? Are you going to play games? No, that's going to wake him up. How about this? You've already taught this level before. Let's go ahead and find the notebook that you had from last 2 terms ago. So I went into my little drawer and then I found a notebook. I was like, okay, I found a notebook. Now what? Then I was like, let's just look through your old notes. You don't have to prep right now, but let's just look through it and see if you remember. So I looked through the textbook and I looked through my notes and I was like, oh, okay, I remember what this is. Then I sat down. I was like, since I'm looking at my notes anyways, maybe I could just, copy my own notes and write it on my new notebook. So I use like a separate notebook for every term that I have. And then I prep my notes, my classes on that notebook. So I started not really recreating my notes because I didn't really like the way my old notes were structured. So I sort of spent some time in restructuring my notes. And at this point, I was unconsciously already prepping like halfway through. Then Tara woke up and then we were thinking about, okay, so what are we going to do today? So I was like, okay, should I stop now and finish the rest at night? Or should I just keep going? I kept going because I was like, we're in too deep. So I was like, give me a second. Let me just finish prepping my notes. So I finished prepping for my Monday class before 9 a.m. And I was so surprised. And also, quite pleased with myself because I was able to maintain that, productivity as like a rollover baggage from training week. So after that, we kind of just went over what I wanted to do today. So I really wanted Taro's help because another thing I've decided in the midst of suffering was that I want to finally, get my prescription renewed. So I had my glasses for, I think, since 2019. How many years is that? 20, 21, 22, 23. 4 years ago, right? The way I have to count my fingers for that. So 4 years ago, and I thought, obviously my eyes' sight have worsened because things are getting a little blurry now. And I thought it would be a good chance to just get a new frame. And, while I'm at it, then why don't I get a checkup as well? I also wanted these like blue light protection lens because my current lens does not do that. And I'm starting to realize, if I were to continue with this training job, then I'm spending a lot of times in front of the computer, hence the headaches that I've been getting. So, I should protect my eyesight, right? If I'm getting paid for it, might as well take care of myself. So I told him, I wanted to go to this store and I want to purchase one of the lenses that I have been eyeing since December. So in last December, when I came back from the States, my US friend actually came to Korea. So we spent like a day together. And towards the end of the day, she wanted to go get a pair of aviators from Gentle Monster, which is like a contemporary brand in Korea, like an eyewear brand. But they're kind of expensive. So the aviators that she purchased were like $289. Yeah, maybe 289,000 Korean won. So in US, I think she only paid like 230 minus tax. So while she was there, I was kind of looking at all the other frames, right? I'm trying it on, and then I realized I liked one of the frames. It's called Eddie. And I took a picture of it, and I told myself, maybe like when I renew my glasses, I could use this frame, in a sense, it felt like a step up from my old frame as well, like a step up in my life. Like I'm taking care of myself and then I'm investing in quality things. And I would say that even though the price tag is kind of hefty, it is a very good, it's like really good built. It's like metal frames and then it feels very light, blah, 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 XYZ. You get the drill. I'm not going to try to sell you this frame because I'm not getting commissions from this. So fast forward, when I found out how much money I was going to get for my tax return. So, I mean, most of my tax return money was going to go towards my student loans anyways. But coupled with the amount of money I would receive from training, there was like enough room for me to squeeze in a frame there. So I thought, it is expensive. I won't lie. It's a big purchase. I've never spent that much money on a frame before. But I feel like, I'm at a position where I should be taking care of myself in things like this. It's not like I'm spending it on something I won't use as often. I literally use my glasses every single day of my life. I barely use contacts. One, my eye's too small. I'm monolith. Like, contacts they just feel very uncomfortable. And I guess I also don't have the confidence to wear contact lenses. I don't think they look good on me. And I guess I like this comfort zone created by wearing glasses. So I thought it was either going to be the glasses frame, or it was going to be a pair of Doc Martens that I was eyeing when I was in the States. And I thought to myself, currently I don't really need shoes, nor do I want shoes. And if I get a pair of glasses, again, it's gonna be a useful buy. So I decided to go with the glasses. So this morning, the original plan was to go to Gentle Monster and was to go to an optic shop that carried Gentle Monster. So the thing is, because it's semi-high-end brand, usually you will see the counter at like a big mall, like Lotte Mall or Shinsegae. But the thing is, when I walk in, like you see freaking Louis Vuitton and then Chanel, Gucci, I feel very like this social pressure of I don't belong in this class, yet I'm trying to shop in this area makes you feel very awkward. And I was like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I didn't want to be in that space when I purchased these glasses, which is why I was like, okay, great. I remember this optical shop that carried some of their products, so we can go there instead. But our plan kind of changed because we were going to have lunch together and we were going to have braised beef soup. And there was a place that had like a Michelin star, or it was on the Michelin guide. So we decided to give that a try. But the thing is, they close at 2:30. And given the commute from where I was and where that noodle shop was, it would be best if we go to that place first and then go get my glasses. So we went to that place, had some bomb braised beef noodle soup. Like it was, I won't say it's better than what I've had in China, because obviously you can't compare that. The ingredients, where the ingredients are grown, it plays a lot into how a dish tastes. But it was definitely one of the best that I've had. Given the price point, it was only like $13.50 per bowl. I was like, this is great, because I went to this other place for my birthday, and it was supposed to be dim sum. And they're supposed to have like 1 or 2 Michelin star, but I went in there, spent a lot of money, and received a whole lot of disappointment because it didn't live up to its hype. And I was like, where is the star coming from? Maybe the char siu bun, but not enough to pay $80 for it. So after we grabbed the meal, I also wanted to get like this wood bowl from Muji, because in the previous week, while I was preparing for this training week, I decided to go to a cafe. And that cafe, wow, that was the best Starbucks I've been to since I came to Korea. It's called Starbucks 1960, and it's basically like a renovated Starbucks, and it used to be a theater, like old school theater. So it was very spacious, and because of that, you know how when you go to Starbucks they call out like numbers and they call out names when your drink is finished? They have to use a projector to project your name onto your name or the order number onto the walls. So you will come down like how many flights of stairs? I want to say 30. It's like an actual legit movie theater. It's really big and it's full of history. I would definitely recommend you to go visit if you're in Korea. But basically, I spent a whole, almost half of a day at that Starbucks. So I woke up at 6:30 that day on a Saturday. And then I got ready to get there when they open because I figured it's going to be very busy. So it would be best if I get there before they open, right? So they open at 9 and I showed up at like 8:45 given my commute. It was already a long line waiting outside. So I'm like, dang, Koreans are so serious about cafes. It's not even a joke anymore. So I waited in line, and then at 9, when the doors opened, I was lucky enough to get kind of like a booth to myself. It was like a corner booth. So I stayed there. I edited, I prepped all the way until maybe like 2 or even 3. I couldn't stay there anymore. 1, I was losing my mind. 2, my stomach was losing its mind. Like I got my go-to order, which is blonde hazelnut latte, as well as a croissant. Because I thought if I was gonna stay there for a long time, then it's worth it to get some pastries, I guess. So that was that. And then afterwards, I thought to myself, okay, I wanted to have a productive / chill day. So I've done the productive half. What do I want to do as like the chill portion of it? Well, I've always wanted to visit Muji again because I got you hear this? ASMR? I got notebooks from Muji before, and I really, really, really like the paper quality. So when I write on it, it really makes a world of difference. So I wanted to get maybe like another pocket note. So I looked up Muji's near me, and then there was one about 40 minutes away. So I took the subway and eventually I got there. It was like a half Muji, half bookstore. It was like YP Books, which is one of the biggest bookstores in Korea, I think. And then on the left, it was Muji. So I was like, oh my gosh, perfect. 2 birds in 1 stone. Because I also wanted to visit like a stationery store because I needed to get replacement pen sim. I know it's not called pen sim, but I'm in Korea for so long. They keep calling the inner part of a pen or a mechanical pencil, they call that sim. So I needed to get that. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I got the sim from the regular bookstore. And then I went into Muji to look for pocket notes. And then I found this passport memo. So I decided to get it and then use it as my gratefulness journal. So I've written down all the things that I'm grateful for thus far in February. And I hope to continue to do so until I fill up all 24 pages. It's very cute, and I'm starting to like pocket notes more and more. 1, because of, the, portability of it. I can take it wherever I go, and it will fit in a crossbody bag. And 2, just this paper quality. I just really love their paper quality, and I wanted to get a notebook that day so bad, but I didn't want to get one of the same notes that I have because, again, I'm not even done with this journal. I don't want to waste money on another one if I'm not finished with this one. So that's why I decided to go with this dark navy passport memo. And I'm almost done filling up my first page, but we're also almost done with February as well. So if you want to bear with me, let me read you all the things I'm thankful for in February so far. Number 1, getting stationaries at Muji. Of course, that's the first thing I've written down. 2nd, visiting cafe, so the Starbucks 1960, and it was something that I saw on Instagram. It was like suggested to me based on one of the traveling Instagram account I follow, and I thought about visiting, but then I was like, I didn't have a definite date in mind. But that was also the day where I thought, why can't I have both? Why can't I be productive while visiting places that I want to visit? So that was the day I decided to, hit two birds with one stone. Third thing I'm thankful for in the month of February was waking up early and having a fuller day. Aha, yes. So I was in the teacher's lounge one day, and then I was prepping for my classes. But, no matter how focused I am, my ears still function, and it would still pick up conversations around me, whether I like it or not. So one of my coworkers was talking about going hiking. And then in my mind, I was thinking, okay, they're probably talking about hiking on the weekend. And so was the person who was having the conversation with her. And then she was like, no, like, let's go hiking before work. And then in my mind, I was like, I could never. First of all, girl, I'd be dead. I'd be so tired. Two, what time? But then this person was like, I like to have the pressure of time. It forces me to, stay with my schedule, and I can make fuller days. And I thought to myself, yeah, I should live a fuller day myself as well, because so what that I live far away? I shouldn't let that get in the way of making my days half full. So I started waking up early and then utilizing that just tiny chunk of time to do things like prepping classes or actually cooking myself breakfast. So I feel like a real human throughout the day. Fourth thing that I'm thankful for is making surprisingly good sandwiches. So while I was in training week, I didn't have a lot of time to prep things. So my fridge was a mess with like a weird collection of everything. And one day, I just thought, you know what? I have a lot of tomatoes. I have eggs. I have bacon. Why don't I just get some ciabatta bread and make a sandwich? So in the beginning, I got baguettes. And I've been eating baguettes with like olive oil and what is that vinaigrette? Balsamic vinaigrette. And I really like that. But I was like, let's switch up the bread a little bit. So I got ciabatta bread. And even though it was very messy, like it didn't look like a regular sandwich, but I smeared I wanted to say Pepto-Bismol. I smeared, what is it? Pesto on wow, it makes all the difference. I love pesto, and I didn't think that I would love it on a sandwich like that, but it works wonders. And so yeah, I was grateful that I made surprisingly good sandwiches. The next on my list is kind of cut off mammoth coffee. So in the past, I had this bad habit of ordering coffee when I get to work. But in the morning, I've already made a cup for myself at home. So eventually, I started cutting off going to one of the coffee shop called Mammoth Cafe, because one of the reasons why I kept going was their affordability. But then they kind of, inflation took its course, and I was like, oof, I cannot be spending money like this. The like one cup of coffee costed like $3.60. That is the same amount of money I pay for one carton of 1 liter milk. So I was like, I gotta cut this off. So I started making coffees at home. And eventually that habit just slowly dissipated from my life. So I don't really go get coffee at work anymore. I'll go with my friends. I would tell them that I would go for vibes, but I wouldn't go there to get coffee for myself. The next thing on my gratefulness list is reading. I am reading again, thanks to audiobook. Yep, that Confessions of a 40-something F-up. All credit goes to that book. Next, waking up early without alarm and getting to sleep in. So, my body is slowly registering that I need to be up at 6:30 with or without my consent. Next one is buying fruits that I want to eat, splurging on strawberries. Oh, fruits are so expensive in Korea. And one day, I think in the middle of training week 2 or 3. I was tired of the junk I was feeding into my body. Whatever I was eating, I could not taste it. Like physically, I could taste it, but it had no emotional value to me. And I thought, I need to take care of myself better than this. And then at the time, I really wanted to eat strawberries, but strawberries were expensive. One box was about like $10. So I bit the bullet and I was like, you're getting paid for training. You need to take better care of yourself. Health is wealth. So I bought 1 box of strawberries and 1 box of blueberries and then 1 box of plain yogurt and bananas. And I think the whole thing together costed like $20. But it felt good. Like in the morning, I would cut up 1 banana, maybe chop up 4 or 5 strawberries and then a handful of blueberries. And I would spread some chia seeds and then honey and I'll mix it all together and I'll eat it. It won't make me feel full, but I felt cleaner, if that makes sense. So yeah, buying strawberries and splurging on fruits was one of the things that I was grateful for. It was a conscious choice that I made. Next one, doing a little dancey dance after breakfast. True, one time I woke up and I was feeling different. So I had some scrambled eggs, bacon, and I put it in a burrito. No, I put it in like a big tortilla. And then after I finished it, even though it wasn't like amazing cooking, but I cooked for myself and it was something different. It was like solid breakfast. So I was happy about myself and the choices I made that day. So yes, I did a little dancey dance after making my breakfast and eating my breakfast taco. Next one. I should have put salsa in there. Anyways, next one. Having a friend who made surprise bento for me because training week. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Next one. My plant. Oh, bird of paradise. Sprouted like a new leaf. Yes, true. Oh, whoa. It's so big now. It's like the size of uni. Wow. So I had this plant. I believe it's called birds of paradise. I'm not sure. It's like in Korean and I don't know what is it in English officially. But I had that plant when I moved into this place. So like almost 2 years ago. And it has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves now. All the other leaves, except the new one, looks like they're on the verge of unplugging the life support. But this new giant leaf gave me hope in life. I'm like, first of all, I didn't expect you to have the capability to pop up another leaf. Secondly, that is a gorgeous leaf. Please don't die on me. I would do my best. I would try my best to protect you from Uni because she has knocked you over like 3 times this year alone. I'm so sorry. I apologize on her behalf. Next thing on my list is the tingling sensation after I went to court. I went to the tennis court alone to play tennis. There's a tennis court adjacent to my apartment building. It's kind of like a community court. But in the morning, all the way till 6, it's based on reservation. And then afterwards, all the way till 10, it's, first comes first serve. So in the past, I've tried to go there alone. And maybe only like twice in my entire life. And I was scared, when I see someone else there, I feel intimidated. And I don't want to be a bother. So I never really visited as often as I liked. But one thing I did before my very, very first training week was that I felt so tense. The night before, I went to the tennis court alone and I just practiced serving and then I played against the wall. And it made me feel really good because tennis is one of those things where if I'm playing tennis, I forget all about my worries and it's always a happy feeling for me. So I thought to myself, on Wednesday night I don't remember, was it week 1 of training this month or week 2 of training this month, I decided to just go. And I went and I played tennis there and I felt really, really good. And I felt it was really cold. I was only out there with a t-shirt and sweatshirt. So the tingling sensation was from work, I guess, playing tennis as well as, just from the sheer coldness. But it was a good feeling to feel after like a week and a half of just mind-numbing training sessions. Next thing on my list, being able to bear my honest feeling and talk to Taro. Yes. So there was something that I felt in the middle of this month. Like I felt a sense of jealousy, as well as, what else did I feel? It was like a sense of jealousy, like discontent or something like that. And I was debating, should I tell Taro about this or should I just try to digest on my own? But I think one thing that came out of this relationship was that I became more honest and vocal about how I feel as a person, as a couple. So I called him and then we talked on the phone a little bit. And he basically, he was very wise and he helped me broke down my feelings and kind of validated that, hey, it's okay to feel that way and it's perfectly normal. So I'm just grateful that I was able to be honest, like 100% honest with him, even though it's like negative feelings. Next one, fortunate to have met kind trainees for my trainings. Yep, exactly. The 2 groups that I've had this month, they were all really kind. And, I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm always prepared for my training or I always feel like I'm in control. There's always this sense of uncertainty and I get very nervous, when I'm presenting. And when we're nervous, we tend to skim over things. But I try to slow down. And then, eventually after first round of training, second round of training was a lot better. But there are always chances where you just meet these trainees, these people who don't want to abide by the rules. But luckily, I didn't really have someone like that. And all my trainees were able to pass my training. So I felt very fortunate to have them. And they also, told me that they were lucky to have me too. And I'm like, yo, the feeling is mutual, my friend. Okay, next one on my list is the one I just rambled on about for almost 30 minutes. Ski and snowboarding day was everything I hoped it to be. So amazing. So amazing. And then next, something I added today, right? Yep. Gentle Monster new frame and updated eye exam. Expensive, but good investment. Yep, we'll see about that. I pick up my frame. I couldn't pick it up the same day because my left eye was significantly worse than my right eye. And apparently I am like a right eye dominant person. So my lenses were going to be different in thickness. But one of the options that I picked was to kind of, what is the word? To make them similar in size. But that is a process that is going to take a weekish. So he told me that once my frame is ready, he'll message me. It'll probably be like Thursday of the upcoming week. So we'll wait for that. Lastly, getting that wooden bowl from Muji. Yes. So when I went to Muji to get stationaries, I saw these like wooden plates and wooden board. And I really wanted it, but I couldn't justify it. But then I realized, the following week, I was eating a lot of yogurts and cereals, and the portion fit very awkwardly with my eating utensils, like my bowls and stuff, because I don't have a lot of bowls. I only have one tiny, like kind of like a tea plate, and then one tiny bowl, one half bowl, which is not deep enough for it to be like a yogurt thing, and then this giant bowl for pasta. So if I use the small bowls, it's not enough. It's not enough to hold the yogurt and the fruit. If I use the large bowl, then the portion size starts to look funny, and it subconsciously tricks me into eating more because the bowl is bigger. So I would have this tendency to fill everything, but then that's way too much. I'm trying to be mindful of what I consume and how much I consume, and not to tap into that too much gene that I have. So I thought, since we're in the spirit of self-love and ruining my budget, why don't we just go to Muji and see if they have a bowl and if the price was reasonable. Now, I found these bowls. They were really nice. They were really nice. I will not lie and tell you they were not nice. But they were also $14. I mean, If you convert it to US dollars, probably like $13. But I was just looking at all the bowls, and I was looking through all the patterns of the bowls, because each bowls, they had different patterns. Eventually I settled on one, and I thought to myself, okay, Julie, this is your yogurt/cereal bowl. You buy this bowl, you eat healthy, okay? So I bought that along with some wafers. Oh, yeah, where's my wafers? Where are my wafers? Oh, it's far away from me. But I got a bag of snack, and then that wooden bowl. And I would say that was, mission accomplished. I did what I wanted to do this week. I've accomplished a lot in the month of February. Everything felt like a whirlwind, but I'm so glad it's over soon. In about 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2. In 2 days, we're done. Oh yeah, this year we only have 28 days in February. That is wild. And then we're gonna transition to March, and March is gonna be a busy one too, because Taro's birthday is in March. But luckily I've already purchased his gift, so it is for him to struggle a month later, because my birthday comes after that. So after I got his gift, I was like, okay, finally, I don't have to worry about this anymore. And I'm like, it's time for you to struggle with mine. He's like, so what do you want for your birthday? I was like, I don't know. I don't really have something I want specifically. I do have somewhere I want to eat, which is like a pasta store? Jesus, Julie. Pasta restaurant that we went to, and I've been to twice. Once was like a farewell lunch with one of my previous coworkers, because he was going back to America to get married and, just move on with his life. And then second time was it for our anniversary? I don't remember. But there's a bad memory attached to it, because that was the first day that Taro got his car, and also the day where he got into 2 consecutive car accidents with me in the car. So we have a lot of PTSD attached to that restaurant. But their pastas are undeniably good. So I'm hoping to return to that place once again, this time by subway, not with our own, we're not going to drive there anymore. The roads are tricky there, parking is difficult, and, bad memory, PTSD. So there's no need to push that. There's no need to push our buttons on a happy day. But yeah, that's that for the entirety of February. I can't believe I managed to pack so many things in 1 month. I mean, I'm happy about it, because I'd rather for my month to be busy than not, because I would feel like I'm wasting my time. But at the same time, personal project-wise, I haven't really made a lot of progress. It is almost March, and I've still yet to finish my freaking homecoming video. I need to get on that. I need to get on with that. I need to edit more in the morning, while I have my downtime. And mark my words, I will upload it by the end of March. Knock on wood. Yeah, that's that. So yes, thank you for tuning in to the 64th podcast of my chaotic life. I hope your February was also productive and chill, and you were able to heal yourself from old scars and prepare yourself for new journeys ahead. We're only 2 months in, so if you haven't achieved a lot of the goals that you want, it's fine, as long as you're conscious about your progress, as long as you're making the effort to, do something about it. And I hope you too will strive to live fuller days, because why not do things that are good for ourselves together? We can be like sisters in arms. But yeah, other than that, I should go to sleep. It's almost my quote-unquote bedtime. I'll go to sleep, but first, let me clean up this messy room. My air purifier is going off. Are you trying to tell me that the air is dirty? Okay, listen, I can't really open the window because microdust be just through the roof right now. But yeah, I'll get on with my other task in my life. I hope you are eating well today. Eat well, live well. Don't forget to remind your loved one that you love them today. And yeah, I can't wait to share whatever adventure I will encounter in the month of March. And of course, March of Madness. So my expectations are high. And oh yeah, I'll definitely update you with my new lenses and stuff. So take care of yourself, and I will catch you next time. Bye. Oh gosh, it's not stopping. That's like life. Oni, no! Oni!